I'm so excited to bringing this video to you. Today we are talking about hotels, or a possible implementation of proper hotels into Planet Coaster 2. I've got some stuff prepared for you, but before we start, this is, as mentioned, a start of a series this week. Every single day to Friday, we have a topic to discuss. Starting with the hotels today, then we will go through stations, pools, UI, and weather and graphics. As promised in my DLC video lately, I will go through a couple of things that I think need fixes, or in terms of the hotels, a proper introduction of this feature anyways. And I am doing this with a lot of things I've already done in game to showcase how it could be integrated on a technical level, and also how it could benefit, or actually the game and we as players could benefit from it, from a sandbox standpoint, but far more importantly from a management standpoint. So first things first. Sorry, my voice is still pretty nosy. That cold kind of, even though the cold wasn't as bad, actually it was pretty okay, but the voice problems, they kind of keep going on and just won't go away, so we do it without. Now, let's start. I have created a couple of examples over here. Let's start with the big one. You can see this is a hotel. You can build the hotel modularly. If you remember, in Planet Coaster 1, we also had basically hotels, and just gonna quickly showcase how that worked. So, in Planco 1, you also just had like let's say you just had a spawner, of some sort, but I'm gonna put the mechanic workshop down because these were kind of these 4x4 meter boxes, just like that. And then you had like a little counter as I can't plop that down because I don't have a pathway over here, but imagine putting down the counter as like the hotel check-in. Essentially, these things were rooms with a certain, amount of guest capacity, and people would go in and then kind of spawn out of them again. That's all. But really didn't have a bigger meaning. It's not meant to have, more guests in the park or whatnot. So the only thing you had were basically you had hotels where people eventually went and then came back. But as Planco 1 didn't really have a real-time, daytime base, so for example over here you can see it's 10:34 now, and if we go on our change over here, you can see we have a full day ahead of us with a couple of weather changes, and this is how the full day would work. And you also have the day after and the day after tomorrow. So that means you can have multiple days in a park. We get to that in a second. I've got some little models prepared here over here but as well. But first things start. So my idea is you have these modules, and every single module is made out of various things. So for example, this is a hotel room module. Here you can see the module, and in the module there is a spawner hidden. Each spawner would account for a certain amount of guest capacity for your park. So let's say one room, I mean realistically you could go up to 4 people though, but I would keep it a little bit more easy by just saying 10 or so to have like a realistic number, because otherwise you would need to put a realistic number down on rooms, which could work, but it would also make the hotels pretty massive indeed. Now with the rooms, you could also argue that one room is not equally to another, which means in terms of how good it is and how expensive it would be. This is where hotel room modules come into play. You've got one bed. You could imagine like go into the group and then you just copy the bed over. You've got a 2-bedroom, in this case you could 4 people in, or double it to 20 capacity, you name it. You've got a bathroom, or you just kind of double the size of a bathroom, that would be bathroom number 1, and then you would kind of have the same bathroom, but you just kind of, put just like 2 bathtubs in or whatnot. That's just kind of the idea. It's very basic, you could imagine this being a thing. So this is how you would then improve the rooms of your hotel. And once you have a room, this is the room, you can put that against a pathway. And this is essentially what this would be. This pathway over here would be a specific hotel pathway, which is easily if you go to the pathways over here, we obviously have the guest path, the queue, and we have the staff path. Imagine there's a 4th icon over here, which is the hotel path, or the hotel floor, I should call it, and then this would be the dedicated hotel floor with the different elevations. By the way, you could also put like an elevator in as a feature. That would be going very hand in hand here, but I actually did it the way so that you can actually connect this to a park. So once you did this, This is pretty nice, you know, you got this thing. And then obviously you could have prefabs, you know, different sized prefabs of a hotel. You can see this is how the things would align. This is like the pathway. This is how the hotel rooms would work. And then if you go over here, this is basically how the whole setup for, like, let's say a medium-sized hotel would go in. And you can see we've got 8 rooms per level, and we've got 3 levels in here. So that means we've got 8, 16, 24 rooms. And if you equal that with the 10, for example, you would add a capacity of 240 people into your park. And you can see already what I mean by that. It's not really that big of a number. However, if we go to the menu in the Sandbox settings, we have this limit guest capacity over here. Imagine we have now a maximum limit of 12,000. If you go into, let's say, the scenario mode, this could be any value at the beginning of the park. But let's say we start with like 10,000, you know, and then you plop down a hotel, and all of a sudden you can up this up to like 10,500, let's say, if you have like a big hotel. So maybe you need to go in a capacity of 50 per room. I don't know, that would need a little bit of balancing depending on how much capacity you would add to your park anyways. But if you look at this one over here, for example, I just broke this open. So again, it would work as always. We could still build this as we are used to. We've got all the prefabs, like if you go to the facility, things look like that, you know, these kind of rooms look ugly anyways, but you can always dress it up, you know. The hotel from over here, from the other side, looks pretty cool. So this is how you could do this. And as for the functionality, just to showcase how that would work, we're going to use quickly this hotel over here. What we're going to do is we got to go to facilities, and now you have to imagine that a guest entrance to the park, you know, this is the park entrance, this would be the hotel entrance. There has to be an adequate piece as for the hotel entrance, okay? So what we're going to do to get some people into the park is we're just going to draw out our path over here, and just going to quickly create like a bit of a plaza here. It doesn't need to be super accurate, it doesn't matter. And then we're gonna put down a couple flat rides real quick, just to, you know, just to showcase how that goes. Just put a carousel here, and let's put a whatever is more kind of thrill ride-y, like a strike over there. Just put it on the other side here. So it doesn't matter, you know, let's just put a couple things down. I'm gonna put the entrance here, exit here, and then you can see people are already coming out of the hotel. That's all I wanted to showcase. See, this is just how it would work, you know. People now come out of the hotel rooms. It just kind of looks nice. This is exactly the way it would. I like the fact that they come in and just need to pee. However, they just came out of the roof. You can see I messed up the sizes of the doors, which is because I I used these doors in my fake hotel in the Hamburg park, and as the hotel was further away, I used a bit of forced perspective to make them bigger. Anyways, yeah, this is how the hotel kind of would work. You know, people come out of this one, enter the park, would enter the rides, and just basically that's about it, you know. There's really not that much more. This is just a functioning idea of a hotel. You could obviously fake it already this way, you know. If you fancy doing this, you put your entrances to hotels. You kind of have hotels because it's essentially not the same people in here, if you will. So there is a way of doing this. There's a way of making this work. Just like you don't have them in here. I actually figured to you know, get it a little bit a step further, you could then, oh my god, there is snow starting. We're just gonna override the weather real quick, so let's put it in sunny. You could even have like an animation of them lying in bed maybe at nighttime, just so you have a bit of things going on. We could also easily just completely rip these things away, by the way. Hold on. All filters go on, and then you have it. So, as they come in now and just walk around, it's just like a nice showcase, but this is how it goes. So this is as for the technical implementation into the game, so it's not really spectacular. I think this is relatively straightforward. You could obviously improve the hotel rating by also putting, and this is the fair nice thing, as we have it already in game, you could obviously improve the hotel by plopping down a restaurant to it, and it needs to be in the rooms of the you know, wonderful hotel area. I'll get to that in a second. And then you could also, while we're at it, you could also go to souvenir shop, you know, and put down a proper souvenir kiosk, you know, modular souvenir shop, put it down, and then you have got 2 items that improve the rating of your hotel. Now, we do have the beauty of the staff zones, and we can create a new staff zone, right? This is just how we do this. So imagine we're doing this like so, and the staff zone is not going to be our staff zone. This is actually going to be down here. here, and you can choose from various icons. But imagine that this would be, and you can see there is like a ton of items, but it's not really meant to be as for a hotel. We don't have a hotel item in here, but just imagine that, I don't know, let's just go for this item over here. I don't know why this would be good. Would be that. And now you can just easily brush over, you know, and this would be the hotel location, you know. This could be the hotel location we have, and then we could have another one for the sunny side hotel. I don't know, let's make it, oh, this is just the same. Okay, well, we just gotta say, okay, hold on. I'm gonna make this blue again. And that icon, you know, whoops, can I undo this? Yes, done. And then you can also add another zone, obviously. This is your zone 1. And if you then go for, let's say, staff zones, we can create another new zone. And we're going to make this one yellow and whatever, it's just like, it doesn't matter. This is the other hotel zone, you know, there you go. And just say done. And you could then obviously edit the zone, and you can, hold on, can I rename the zone? I can't really rename, can I? Oh wait, there it is. You know, this could be the sunny side hotel. Hoel? Hoel? Is that like after Christmas? Anyways, so this is that, and then you go to zone 1, and this is the, I don't know, Lake View Hotel. There we have it, you know. And this way you could then have proper hotels in your park. I think this would be a beautiful integration to the way how the game works, and you could also assign staff to exactly these locations. You can improve the rating of the hotel, and it would be absolutely fine. But then there is this model I created down here. What the heck is this? Well, if we zoom all the way out to our park, you can see the park has a certain outline over here, and the park outline means that we can have only this land available. In scenario mode, in scenario mode, we are able to purchase land. I'm not even sure if you can do this in here, by the way. Scenery score, temperature, blah, 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 blah. No, there's not really. I think there was an option to purchase land, but I think they took it out of the sandbox mode because it necessarily doesn't work. But imagine we have the chance to improve or like make our parks bigger or smaller depending on what we want to do. So let's say you dedicate this bit of the park to water parks. Let's say you dedicate this bit of the park to proper theme park, just like Disney and some other major parks do it. And then in the center, this is where the hotels would be located, because with like also Disney Village or so, that like there's a lot of areas in the real world which have just hotel areas. Also Phantasialand has it somehow to the park, but also next to the park. So technically you can also enter the park via the hotel, which is only available if you are a guest of the hotel. And so the idea is, you can see this is like a miniature hotel over here. There's a monorail connection that goes from here to here. Also, that's inspired by one of the Disney World Florida kind of hotels, which has literally a monorail station go through the hotel. I remember I wanted to stay there so badly, but yeah. So this is that. We've got one map over here that is potentially could be our theme park, and then this is our lake where there could be like a lagoon or like a swimming area. I don't know. This will be my idea to also integrate this. So with the hotels comes the option to set dedicated park areas, and also in between you cannot really build, but you could put, and this is something for the future, you could put actual roads in between. So I wanted to keep that quickly open so you guys can see my idea actually in the works. I think the color is just working fine. You know, you could actually just have roads go in between, and then this is necessarily, let's try to spot the middle kind of nicely. There you have it. You know, this is like a road network that goes in between your parks and just kind of gives the idea of proper hotels, how they could work, you know. And obviously with this being a miniature, you can technically see how that is a nice attempt on the concept of hotels, because again, I do really believe that this would add so much to the game's mechanics, how to play the game. It would essentially also drag a lot more money out of the guests, or pockets of our guests, because the more they spend, the more they the more time they spend, the more money they spend, and they would also spend money on the hotel. And the better your park is, and the bigger your park is, it also needs to be aligned with how much they can do in the park. So let's say one day they want to go to the water park, the other day they go to the main park, and it needs to be weighted a little bit, you know. There needs to be a certain weight to that. We could also quickly test if, by the way, this works. If I drag the pathway over here to the other side, I think this could be a fun little thing to just have them also spawn from over here. I'm not sure if that works, but this could be like a thing, you know, that you have like a functioning hotel area. Let's see if people spawn in here. Oh, they do actually. Look at that. This is fun. You could even put like some, you know what, let's just quickly do this just for the sake of the showcase. Because the lighting in the game helps us to create some very beautiful looking hotel floors, I assume. So let's go with this one. This is the proper lamp we would need here. Let's see if we can... well, I gotta align that too. I'm gonna align that to the side here, because this is then necessarily the exact thing we need. And the light can be this way, and then let's bring it all the way up here. Yeah, it doesn't need to be that high though, because realistically that's that. And we're gonna put this on loop, so it's always on, and then just gonna drag them in here like so. And let's quickly create a group, so it's gonna make our life a little bit more easy. Here we have that, and then just like drag them all in. So we create, let's see if we just need to go one further. I think we need to, oh, not even one, actually twice, I guess. So there we have it. And yeah, let's do some 2 more here in the back. So here goes that. And now we can just select them all and drag them down into the other 2 floors. That should be easy. This should be easy. Actually, just one more floor I need to do. So let's just bring it all the way down. So it makes the whole thing look immediately a lot better, you know. Just trying to give you guys an idea of what my concept would be if you would be building these kind of hotels and how cool that would look. So, you know, guaranteed that this is a feature that would be desperately needed by people. It would actually be very fun to see how we would be creative with it, what people come up with, like nice ideas. You could build like proper restaurants for the hotels that could feature certain different goods, maybe different type of I don't know, accommodations, and different type of pools. You could even go into certain pools that are only accessible via a hotel ticket, you know. Like there's a lot of options how you could implement this on a management level, but this is my kind of guess, or is that maybe a concept, how you would bring this into the game without further changing too much in the game, because necessarily all the bits and pieces are in the game. You could literally just create like invisible little items, just like the snap edges, for example. You have like an invisible item for a bed, an invisible item for a bathroom, an invisible item for a TV size or whatnot, and they would add up to your room. Your room can be anything connected to a door. Let's say the door is the equivalent to our counter over here. The entrance to our hotel is the equivalent to the entrance to the park, and the spawner is the equivalent to the guest hotel room door. So this is kind of how you could easily create the idea of a hotel, and honestly, I am very sure that in the future we will be receiving hotels. Hopefully a lot of these ideas can be translated into that, but now it's your turn to let me know if you like the idea also of separating the path with it, and also of having the option to edit it with already existing things like the restaurant or the souvenir shop, which then would be improving the rating of your hotel alike. So just as a little spoiler, if you guys are interested in more of these type of videos, I have prepared these things actually in the same kind of value. I'm very proud of the stations. We're going to talk about this tomorrow. I think this is my best work so far. I got to do a couple of fixes on the other ones though. But we're going to talk about stations, about pools, specifically about how existing pools can be improved. I'm not talking too much about new rides or flumes, just to give you a bit of context what I'm aiming for. I'm really talking about the existing pool system, how this could be improved and made more meaningful. We have to talk about the UI, which is disabled for a reason right now, but we have to talk about the UI. There is a lot to talk about. I wanted to do this for a while, but it's time. And then we will talk yet again about weather and graphics, because I have a couple of things to do. You know that I have this mod installed over here that gives you access to change a couple of things with weathers, and I forgot actually for today's video to adjust this. There is going to be a update on the mod that is giving you access to save some of your settings, but you can immediately tell this looks a bajillion times better now, with a lot less yellowish tint to the map. But you can do all kind of shenanigans with the mod. This will be part of the graphics thing. You know, we're going to talk about this. Again, hopefully you guys like this. I tried to put as much effort into it to showcase how that works. I'm not taggy 3D, so I haven't engineered a fully working hotel with in-game platforms, which I don't know if it's possible, but if it's possible, Taggy has definitely done it already. So yeah, here we go, guys. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I tried my best to visualize the things I am thinking about, and yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about my ideas. Is there anything else you would like to see in here? If so, let me know. Thank you so much as always for your support, and in case you want to really help me out, make sure to hype the video if you have got some hypes left. Also, make sure to tune in for the next videos coming, or check out my latest videos just to give the wonderful algorithm a little bit of a hint that you like my video. You can binge watch some other stuff, or just simply sub to the channel if you haven't already. I'm very sorry to always repeat this unnecessary YouTube bit, but it turns out that otherwise there is no way to get grips on the algorithm anymore. So many things I would love to not do, but really appreciate all your support. Many thanks, guys. I hope to talk to you in the next one. Until then, have fun with Planet Coaster 2 and all the other games you're playing. I see you tomorrow with the stations. Be tuned for that. It's gonna be great. Bye.